Welcome to the new video. In this recap, at a hotel in Florida, a boy named Rob gets ready for another day of school, and while waiting for his bus to arrive, he decides to explore the forest near his home. During his walk, the boy remembers the moment he attended his mother's funeral, who passed away a few months ago. Despite the melancholic memory, Rob continues his exploration peacefully when he comes across an abandoned cabin in the middle of nowhere. Curious, the boy approaches and is surprised to notice a large tiger lying in a cage outside the hut. Realizing that the feline has already noticed his presence, Rob decides to run away and heads home, where he grabs his backpack to run to the school bus. During the trip, the boy is the target of several jokes and taunts from bullies who bother him non-stop. Suddenly, the driver stops at a new stop to pick up a new student named Sistina. Upon hearing the newcomer's name, the bullies laugh, and feeling furious, the girl sits down so as not to make the situation worse. Later, during class, the teacher explains the subject to her students, but Rob is not interested in the subject and draws the tiger he had found earlier, using his imagination to make it move. At the same time, the boy remembers the days when his mother taught him to carve wooden objects, as this was one of her main talents. At that moment, the teacher calls Rob's attention, saying that the principal wants to see him in his office immediately. Confused, the boy heads to the principal's office, where the principal checks the condition of his student's legs. It is then revealed that Rob suffers from a severe skin condition, which causes his legs to be frequently injured and irritated. The man explains that some parents have expressed concerns about the boy, fearing that their children will contract the disease due to prolonged contact. Therefore, the principal asks Rob to continue taking the medication he recently acquired and decides to write a letter to the boy's parents, as he believes he should stay home for a while. After the conversation, Rob leaves the principal's office and, upon encountering a teacher picking up her belongings that had fallen on the floor, he runs to help her. Excited, the woman thanks the student for his help, and after introducing themselves, Miss Mills asks him what the drawing he is carrying is. Despite being very shy, Rob hands the sheet with the drawing of the tiger to the teacher, who praises his artistic skills. Wanting to encourage the student's inspiration so that he can further develop his talent, Miss Mills asks him to come see her when she returns from her leave, and the boy promises he will. Minutes later, Rob waits outside the school until the end of classes, when suddenly a large group of students appears chasing Sistina. Irritated by the amount of teasing she is suffering, the girl decides to fight back and attacks one of the kids, but the troublemaker is much older and knocks her to the ground. Trying to prevent the newcomer from being attacked, Rob runs to stop the fight, ordering the delinquents to leave Sistina alone. The problem is that this ends up drawing the bully's attention to the boy, who runs away so he won't be attacked. Later, Sistina gets on the bus with her clothes and hair messed up, and is the target of jokes and laughter from the other students. Outraged by all this, the girl sits next to Rob and vents about how much she hates that city and its delinquent inhabitants. Trying to comfort her, the boy tells her what happened to him and reveals the condition he has in his legs. Wanting to find a way to stop attending classes, the girl begs to be infected by Rob's condition, but he replies that this will not be possible, as it is not contagious. Feeling bad for her classmate, Sistina says she will bring him his homework so that he doesn't fall behind in school. At dusk, Robert reads the letter from the principal that his son brought him and is outraged by the principal's behavior, since he had already explained several times that Rob's condition is not contagious. Despite this, the man decides to let his son stay home for a while, and after injecting the medicine into the boy's leg, he leaves to finish preparing dinner. Later, Rob makes a new wooden sculpture, and as he remembers the tiger he saw, he uses his knife to create a statuette of Sistina. After that, the boy lies down to sleep and has a dream where he sees Sistina running through the forest, riding the great Bengal tiger. The next day, Rob does some chores alongside Willie, the hotel cleaning lady, and the woman decides to take a break and gives her little companion some gum. Hours later, the school bus passes by the hotel, and when they see the boy tending the garden, the bullies throw an object at him. The impact causes Rob to feel a sharp pain in his ribs, and tired of the treatment from these delinquents, he imagines what it would be like if he could ask the tiger for help in confronting them. Soon after, Sistina gets out of the vehicle and hands him the homework that was assigned during the day's classes. Wanting to invite his friend to spend some time with him, Rob decides to reveal that he found a tiger, and excited, the young woman asks him to take her to see it. The boy then explains that they will need to cross the forest, and Sistina asks him to lend her some of his clothes. So, the pair run to Rob in his father's room, and when she sees all the statues created by her friend, the young woman is impressed. While observing the objects, Sistina explains that Michelangelo was also a sculptor before becoming a painter, and affirms that Rob is a true artist. At that moment, the girl finds the doll that was created in her own likeness and says that she finds all of those works to be perfect. Hearing all these compliments, Rob is speechless, and to hurry him up, Sestina asks him to quickly get the clothes, and after handing them over, the boy goes outside to wait for his friend. With everything ready, the pair walk to the tiger's cage, and both are impressed to get so close to a predator like that. Sestina then asks why that animal is locked in a cage in the middle of the forest, but Rob says he doesn't know and theorizes that it may be a pet tiger belonging to Beauchamp, the hotel owner. Upon hearing this, the girl is outraged and insists that they must free the animal, as it does not deserve to spend its life in a cage just to entertain some man. Although he agrees with his friend, Rob explains that this will not be possible, as the cage has an extremely strong lock, and they have not even been able to destroy it. At that moment, the young people hear Beauchamp approaching in his vehicle and decide to run away so they won't be seen. When they arrive at the hotel, the pair encounters Robert, who was waiting for his son, and after introducing herself to the man, Sestina goes to a phone booth to call her parents so she can leave. Meanwhile, Robert talks to the boy about his new friend and feels happy that the boy finally has someone by his side to have fun with. Minutes later, Rob hands Sestina her clothes, and together, the young people wait for the girl's parents to arrive. Soon, Sestina's mother arrives in her car, and after scolding her daughter for being missing for the last few hours, she questions why the young woman is wearing those clothes. However, the girl is not intimidated by the woman's behavior, and wanting to ease the situation, the girl's mother interacts with Rob, saying that her daughter only listens to her father's orders. This statement makes Sestina even more irritated, and she gets into the car with her mother, causing both of them to leave the scene during a huge argument. After that, Rob is confused by everything that happened and returns home. In the morning, the boy continues cleaning with Willie and asks the woman's opinion about animals that live in captivity with humans. The cleaning lady then tells him a story from her childhood, when her father gave her a small green bird as a gift. Willie explains that although she really enjoyed the animal's company in her daily life, she couldn't bear to see it trapped like that, and decided to set it free. After doing so, the woman ended up suffering severe punishment from her father, who said that all she had done was provide another prey for a random snake in the forest. However, Willie did not change her mind about her old friend, and to this day, she dreams of the green bird singing in her dreams. Hours later, Rob is cleaning the side of the hotel when he comes face to face with Beauchamp. Wanting to get rid of some of his current obligations, the hotel owner decides to call the boy to work on one of his activities and asks if he would like to do it to earn his own money. Although confused, Rob agrees to the idea, and the man explains that a few days ago, he captured an extremely valuable wild animal. The problem is that the animal needs a lot of care and daily maintenance in its cage, and Beauchamp asks if the boy would like to go with him to see the animal so he can get to know it. Upon hearing this, Rob explains that he cannot leave because his father has asked him to help Willie with the housework. Angry, the owner claims that the boy's father is a nobody and orders Rob to obey his orders. So the boy sets off for the location with Beauchamp, and has to feign a reaction when he is taken to see the captured tiger. The owner explains that he received the animal as a gift from an acquaintance who owed him a large amount of money. After that, Beauchamp shows Rob how to feed the predator, and gets a big scare from the tiger, who jumps toward the fence, causing him to fall to the ground. Trying not to arouse suspicion, the boy holds back his laughter, and after handing his keys to his newest employee, the hotel owner mocks the tiger, saying that it is nothing more than a useless animal. However, the feline does not allow this disrespect and sprays its waste in the direction of the man, who screams desperately and leaves with the boy. Before arriving at the hotel, Beauchamp decides to stop to talk to the boy and asks Rob to keep what they are doing a secret, so they can avoid big problems. In addition, the owner explains that the boy should keep the plastic bag containing the tiger's meat and promises to bring another one the next day so that he can continue caring for the animal. At that moment, Teacher Mills drives by in her car and, noticing the man's strange behavior and appearance, she yells at them, asking what is going on. However, Rob says he is fine, and to prevent the woman from asking more questions, the owner orders her to leave. Before leaving, the teacher asks Rob to visit her in her classroom when he returns to school, and after being threatened by Beauchamp once again, she decides to leave. Sometime later, Rob tries to hide the package of meat for the tiger somewhere in his house, as he does not want to disobey the hotel owner's orders. With the situation resolved, the boy looks at the keys he received from the man and wonders whether or not he should free the tiger. At that moment, the school bus passes by the hotel again, and after reuniting with her friend, Sestina says she wants to visit the tiger one more time. Excited, the pair run towards the animal's cage, and knowing that he will not be able to keep what happened a secret, Rob reveals everything that Beauchamp asked him to do. This news makes Sistina excited, because now they can free the tiger, since that predator is part of a group of endangered species. However, Rob says they shouldn't do that, and tells her the story he heard from the cleaning lady Willie, saying that the tiger may end up perishing because it is living alone in the wild. Despite this, Sistina refuses to agree with the boy and declares that she will do everything she can to release the animal, even if she has to do it on her own. In the midst of the argument, the young woman shakes the cage in a fit of rage, and soon after, she begins to cry and is calmed down by her friend. Wanting to make the tiger more comfortable, Sistina removes the canvas from the top of the cage, and the pair spend the night next to the animal, watching the stars in the sky. Sometime later, the young people return to the hotel, where they are surprised by the cleaning lady Willie, and Sistina acts disrespectfully in front of the woman. Despite this, Willie is not offended and calms the girl down, saying that she was also a rebellious young woman when she was their age. In addition, the cleaning lady explains that Sistina should start acting in a more controlled manner, since no one will solve her life's problems for her. This attitude leaves the girl speechless, and Willie leaves in her vehicle, while being watched by the pair. Later, Rob arrives home after saying goodbye to his friend and is confronted by his father, who asks where that package of rotten meat came from. Despite the orders he received, the boy refuses to lie and reveals that it was Beauchamp who delivered those things to him. The problem is that this statement only makes the man furious, as he believes the package was delivered as some kind of joke, as if they were unable to afford their own food. This makes Robert furious, and after throwing the plastic bag against the wall, he sits down to try to calm down a little. Concerned about his father's state, Rob approaches him to talk, but the man asks to be left alone, and the boy decides to go outside to carve one of his wooden figurines. The next morning, the boy observes his newest creation outside his room and uses his imagination to make the carved animal move around him. Soon after, Rob gives Willie the wooden bird as a gift, and the woman is happy to have received such a meaningful present. Later, the boy runs into Sistina arriving on the school bus, and when she meets her friend, the girl tells him that her mother has become increasingly irritated with her behavior and has forbidden her from visiting him. However, the girl has decided not to follow her mother's orders and asks Rob to tell her where Willie is, as it is time to ask someone else's opinion about the tiger situation. When they meet the cleaning lady, the young people explain everything that is happening, but the woman does not believe any of it, and they decide to take her to the cage. As soon as she comes across the tiger trapped in the middle of the forest, Willie is outraged and agrees that such behavior is exactly the kind of thing Beauchamp usually does. Angry, Sistina asks the cleaning lady to give her opinion on the matter and orders Rob to free the cat immediately. However, the woman says she will not do so, because although she knows Beauchamp is not a good man, she also knows that the tiger will have no chance of surviving in that forest. Upon hearing this, Sistina becomes furious and disagrees with the woman, saying that the predator can go on with its life just like the wild panthers that live in that region. Despite all these discussions, Willie says that young people should not interfere in this, because in the end, the right thing to do will not always be the safest thing to do. Outraged, Sistina says she can't wait for her father to show up, because she knows that he will not only agree with her, but will also help her free the animal. However, Rob interrupts the girl, saying that this may not be true, and that perhaps her friend's mother is right about the man, who may be nothing more than a liar. This accusation makes Sistina furious, and she ends her friendship with the boy, declaring that she hates him and will never speak to him again. After that, the girl leaves, and wanting to comfort the boy, Willie asks him to accompany her so they can return to the hotel. Minutes later, Rob comes across Sistina leaving and decides to run after her, saying that he has decided to release the tiger. Sistina then says she doesn't believe him, but Rob insists that he is telling the truth and will do it for their friendship. At the same time, Beauchamp shows up in his car, and after introducing himself to Sistina, he asks the boy to pick up the package that will be left at the hotel office later. Trying not to arouse suspicion, Rob confirms the man's order, who says he needs to leave to settle some matters with the boy's father. Realizing that the hotel owner will be busy for a few hours, the pair decide to free the tiger immediately and run to the cage. Without wasting any time, Rob unlocks the padlocks with the set of keys he received from the man, and despite knowing that the predator has not eaten for 2 days, they decide to open the cage doors. As soon as it realizes it is being freed, the tiger stands up, and wanting to make it clear that it needs to leave, Rob shouts for it to be free. At that moment, Sistina calms her friend and says that the animal seems to have understood the message. The tiger then walks outside, and realizing that the animal has stopped right next to them, the young people stroke the feline's body. With that, the great predator walks away, and before leaving for its new life, it lets out a powerful roar that is heard by everyone in the region. Excited, the pair watch the tiger run into the depths of the forest and celebrate having made the right decision. However, suddenly, Sistina hears a gunshot and falls to the ground, finding it difficult to breathe. Although confused by what has happened, the young people leave and run towards the road, where they come across the tiger lying on the ground. At that moment, Rob realizes that the animal was eliminated by his father, who fired the shot to save Beelchamp's life, who had been knocked down by the predator. At the same time, Willie appears on the scene, and as he kneels beside the tiger, the boy asks why his father did that. However, it is revealed that the shot at the animal was nothing more than a big accident, as all Robert was doing was defending himself from Beelchamp, who tried to eliminate him with his revolver after an aggressive argument they had. Despite knowing that he did not want to do that, the man remains silent, and this attitude only makes Rob even more furious. Because of this, the boy runs towards his father and starts pushing him, saying that he hates him and no longer wants to live with him. Soon after, Rob orders his father to say his mother's name out loud, since he hasn't done so since the day she perished. Realizing how he has been treating his son all this time, Robert says Caroline's name and bends down emotionally as he hugs his son. At the same time, Willie hugs Sistina to comfort her after all that, and wanting to prevent further confrontation, Robert helps Beelchamp to his feet. With nothing left to do now that the tiger has been eliminated, the hotelier leaves the scene, and to comfort the young people, the cleaning lady says that the animal is now in heaven. At that moment, the woman notices that Rob's legs seem to have been healed, and feels happy for him. After that, Robert and Willie leave, and now that they have said goodbye to the poor tiger, Sistina apologizes to her friend, saying that he is the best companion she could have. Soon after, the pair walk away, and come across the drawing of the tiger that Rob had made a few days earlier. Impressed by the beauty of the drawing, Sistina says that it is an extremely beautiful work of art, and Rob tells her that she can keep it. To thank him, Sistina kisses Rob on the cheek, and together the young people leave, knowing that despite what happened, that day was a milestone of freedom for everyone, especially the tiger, who now roams free in a place much better than that forest. Subscribe for more recap videos.